Hi everyone, this is week 8, the autumnal portrait that you're going to be painting in watercolours. I've already pre-drawn out my portrait, and I've also put some masking fluid where I want the white areas to remain. The background I've produced using a wet in wet wash and just let the colours bleed. For the actual face, I'm going to just work in thin washes, very sort of watery paint, starting with the warmer hues where I can see the warmer touches on the face. So as you can see, the paint is very watery, and I'm just placing it down where I see the warmer areas on the face. And the colours that I've used are cadmium red and yellow ochre mixed together. And as I said, I want to keep it really thin and watery. And we're going to let the paint run. I'm working on an A3 piece of paper, and I will be building up layers of washes. And where I see areas of shadow, I'm going to put in a cool blue wash, and I'm using my ultramarine blue. I'm going to add a tiny bit of Payne's grey to it to tone it down a little bit. And I'm going to place these areas where I see the cooler tones. And as I said, I'm adding a lot of water. So very loose, thin, watery paint. The hat itself, I'm going, because it's a large area, I'm going to add wet in wet for that. I'm going to use dark burnt umber mixed with a little bit of crimson. And I'm going to just again let that run. Think about the size of your brush as well. If you've got a large area, use a much bigger brush. I'm also going to add some crimson to the face, some Algerian crimson, which is quite a strong pinky colour. I'm just going to place that in areas around the eyes, again adding a lot of water, on the mouth, under the chin. And you can see that the paint is swimming with water, so it's working actually on the paper. I'm letting it run. I will come back to this when that is dry. The next area I'm going to work on is the hair, and for that I'm going to use burnt sienna, cadmium red, my ultramarine blue, and also my burnt umber. So again, I'm going to be really generous with the paint, and I'm going to do quite long sweeping brush strokes. You can, if you want to, use the straw to blow the paint, but I'm going to leave that for another portrait. I'm not going to do it on this one because I want to have some control over the direction of the marks. You can be quite generous with the paint as well. And later you're going to add more definition to create a little bit more evenness to these strokes, but you'll come back to that again. I'm going to go back to the face now, and I'm going to look at the eyes. Now for these eyes I'm going to make them a bluey tint with a little bit of burnt umber mixed in to dull it down. And I'm going to just place that in carefully. Then I'm going to add some black, again very carefully, for the pupils. And I've marked out the white where I want the actual highlights to be. So the mouth, I'm going to strengthen the colour as well. I'm going to come back to that. Sorry, it was not the camera. And put a little bit more deeper colour into that. You don't want to make it too red, so if you do put too much, just lift it out, either with your brush. Now you can see that that is really wet and swimming around with water, so I'm going to take some tissue and just soak it up. And lift it out a little bit. I want you to think about the darkest points next in your portrait, and you're going to be looking at the eyebrows and painting in just carefully their shape. I'm using burnt umber, and I will probably add some other colours to it. I also need you to put a little bit more darker crimson around the tops of the eyes for where the eye opens and closes, the eyelids. Again, we're going to come back to these, and as you can see, it's gradually starting to dry. I'm going to strengthen that top line and also the crimson around the eye slightly. I'm also going to put in some stronger tones for the nostrils. For the centre of the mouth. Just underneath the chin as well. So again, lots of water, lots of keeping the paint moving while you're working. So I'm going to go back to the hair now and just put in some slightly stronger reds. And I'm going to let the paint mix on the paper. So I'm putting in some very strong tones. Now, because of the time this takes to dry, I'm going to show you another one that I have done already, just to show you the difference in the building up. So you can see that once it's dry, you can work into the hair and place more exact strokes. You can add some detail if you have a hat. You can also add in some more patterns in your background. Okay, now for skin tones, I would use your yellow ochre and your cadmium deep red, lemon yellow if you have it, and cadmium deep red, cadmium yellow and burnt sienna. If you're doing a darker tone, yellow ochre and burnt umber. Okay everyone, this is my other finished portrait. So you can see it's a lot stronger and darker. So it depends how dark you want to go. Good luck everybody, and of course I'm on the app if you want to WhatsApp me and I'll answer any questions. Good luck.